2019, when this project started, I was excited to work with our community to collect whatever material y'all wanted to donate, whether it was stories, newspapers, programs, photos, like I said, anything to preserve our history and our stories. Inevitably, as we all know, we're all going to eventually die. And then what happens to the history? What happens to our stories? Who's going to know about these award winners, or who's going to know what any of us did when we're gone? And that's what we are looking to preserve, all of this history. And we need your stories, and we need your archival material and your programs and your history and your pictures. We're collecting all of this. We do this every year where we present these awards and we get together, but we're also collecting material, and that's what's stored at the LGBT Center, and that's what we're hopefully at some point going to be able to display somewhere also. As everybody also knows, this month is LGBT History Month, and as part of that history, earlier this month, on October 11th, we celebrated the 35th anniversary of the 1987 March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights. 1 year later, October 11th became National Coming Out Day to commemorate the march and also to continue the momentum. The march energized those in attendance. There was a sense of community that was never felt before, and many were moved and inspired by the AIDS quilt on display and by the activists from ACT UP New York that they returned home to start their own ACT UP chapters or similar lesbian and gay rights organizations. Another important piece of history that we can celebrate this month is the upcoming 30th anniversary of the 1993 March on Washington for lesbian, gay, and bi equal rights liberation. That was April 25th, 1993, and there were between 800,000 and 1 million attendees, making it one of the largest marches in American history. The 1993 marchers were demanding civil rights and an end to discrimination by state and federal governments, including the military, an increase in funding for AIDS education, research and patient care, and reproductive freedoms and choice to control their own bodies. While some things have changed since 1993, many have not, as we know, and there's still much more for us to do. Tonight, as part of our celebration of our LGBT history, we want to celebrate our local heroes and sheroes. Tonight we're celebrating two groups being recognized, one for their work around HIV/AIDS education and awareness that turned into a nationwide organization, and the other for their work with teens who need a safe place to be themselves and feel safe. We're celebrating a nurse practitioner who works with women of color who are HIV positive. Two of our award recipients are women who have made it possible for their community to feel safe and welcome when perhaps no one else has. And we're honoring a longtime Daytonian who has worked in our community fighting for equality for decades. Each of our recipients tonight will receive a Rubi Award, which are on the table, and I'm sure, or they're named after the Ruby Girls, and I'm sure, as you know, they're here tonight. They're a local drag troupe who have developed a national reputation for fun events and have helped raise over $2 million for various charities and HIV/AIDS research and prevention. The Ruby Girls represent the best values of our community: creativity, self-determination, community engagement, and bridge building. Each of our recipients tonight also embodies these values. And before we start, of course, none of this could be possible without the support of our sponsors, and we want to give them a heartfelt thank you. They are listed on your program, but it's Gay Dayton, Rainbow Elder Care of Greater Dayton, Square One, and the Ruby Girls. So thank you all very much. As we've done in the past, we have tried to come up with categories. So our first category is where we gathered or where we gather. And our first honoree is Pam Strain.
I realized when I was in elementary school that I felt a little different because I enjoyed looking at women, not men. So I knew at a very early age I was a lesbian. And I tried to go through school and stay unnoticed, because back when I went to school, sorry, people did not accept gay people or homosexual people. We were made fun of. We were pushed around. Some people were beaten up, and some people were actually murdered because of their sexuality. I hope that they stop trying to not allow gay marriages and stuff anymore. I think I pray to God that we go forward, that we don't end up ever going back to my time, because it was a very scary time.
All right. So Pam is here this evening. Do you want to come up? Pam was the owner of the Down Under and Up on Main bars. The Down Under was a bar restaurant which was a safe haven for the LGBTQ community in the lower level of the Talbot Tower on Ludlow Street in Dayton. After the close of that bar, Pam opened Up on Main as a lesbian bar in the Santa Cruz district on Main Street. So Pam is here to accept her award.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Randy Phillips and everybody that nominated me and put me in up here. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I hope we go forward with everything and don't go back. Be proud of who you are. Stand up for who you are. I know it's very hard sometimes. And please, guys, as older people, we need to be mentors to some of the younger people. When they're having problems, they don't know who to talk to, they're scared. Because I always hate when I always hear of a young person taking their own life because they had nobody to talk to, and they were so afraid of who they were, and they couldn't come up forward with it. But like I said, we've come a long way, and I hope we stay that way. And also, one short brief, just remember when you guys go to the polls, anytime, try to vote for who you think is for us. We vote, for the people, but they need to be by the people, and they need to be by everybody, not just lining their pockets. But definitely, like I said, just be proud of who you are. And if you need help, try to reach out. There's a lot of different organizations to help you. Don't be afraid, and don't be ashamed of who you are. Because when people try to say you have a mental illness because you're different, no, you're not. You know who you are, and just like I said, be who you are and be proud. And hope to see you guys soon again. So.
Great. Our next honoree is Visible and Resilient.
I definitely would like to be known for a social justice warrior. My entire professional career is about helping people access medically accurate, scientifically supported, research-based information so that they can make choices for themselves. To me, that's the epitome of social justice, is when there are folks who aren't or can't access, but I can. Let me create a path so that you can take what you need and do what you want. Own your shit. That's a personal one for me, and then it's been in my syllabi when I was teaching college courses for the past 27 years. It literally is in my syllabi. That's what sexuality education is. It's getting the information so you can own your shit. You can do what you need to do with it.
Find your joy. I hope that things are different than they are now. Continue disrupting systems that don't work for all people.
All right, so the coordinators of Visible and Resilient are Rochelle Ferbata and Amanda Northcutt. So if you guys want to come up and...
Okay, you already heard the TED Talk. You know what's going on. Just own your shit. I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. This is quite an honor, and I am flattered. We are flattered. Having said that, I just want to just kind of jump back to 2018 when I met Jerry Malacote. And he was the one that said, "How you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing all right. How you doing?" And then we started talking about LGBTQ youth and what was missing, what wasn't here in the community. To which I said, "Well, I teach sex. Let's make it happen." And having said that, fast forward to 2019, where I talked to Andrea Hoff, who at that point in time was employed at Animus, who kept saying things like, there isn't a prevention education curricula that's inclusive of LGBTQ kids. And I said, I know, I'm very aware. She said, "Why don't you write one?" I said, okay, let's do it. So I did. I wrote a 6-lesson plan curricula that as of 3 weeks ago moved from evidence-informed to evidence-based. Now, is that a big deal? Look, in this room, let me just tell you, it ain't no thing. Out in that world, it's a thing. And what it means is that inclusive curricula that talks about identities of all kinds, that includes students of all kinds, is going to get picked up and promoted other places. And that's what we care about the most. So fast forward to a day where Miami University said, "Sure, go ahead. You can apply for some money." $150,000 later, I met Amanda. I interviewed 3 people, and it was absolutely no doubt in my mind that we needed to work together. And we've been together doing this work ever since. And just in case you haven't heard, we have the same birthday. So when you say, "What kind of energy does it take to run a program like that?" I say, "Well, we're both Geminis, so it takes 4 people." That's right. Thank you so much for this. This is beautiful. Thank you.
Yes. I don't know how you follow up by multiple own your shits. But yeah, I thanking everyone here for everything that we're all doing. And myself in particular, having the opportunity that Rochelle gave me to work in a community that is very much in need. And making, statistics and putting those to faces of the kids that we're supporting in Montgomery County. And so some days are hard, but it's, at the end of the day, we think about what we do and the impact that we are making, and we'll continue to disrupt systems. And that's what I want us to be known for. That's where we're at. So thank you all so much.
And just so you know, we're building a youth center right now, so I'm going to need your checkbooks out in a minute, and you know who I'm looking at. I'm just saying. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Dayton Black Pride.
And when it comes to the Dayton Black Pride, the thing that I noticed, because I didn't actually come out until I was in my 20s, when I was done fulfilling all of the plans that my parents had for me and all that jazz. But when I was in Dayton, or still living in Dayton, there was just, I saw all the love and attention and everything that was coming from individuals outside of the Black community. Although I knew plenty of individuals in the Black community who were part of the LGBTQ family, however, due to our culture, upbringings, and things like this, it was just a conversation that still doesn't happen as much as we would like it to. So I was randomly actually in Texas with my girlfriend, and we were at Dallas Pride, and there was a separate event down there for Dallas Black Pride. And we went to it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, yes, it was a lot of fun doing the traditional things that we see in Pride, the parade, having fun, fellowshipping with just everyone involved. But to see a segment of the population, I've never seen it myself. No matter where you are in the social climate, life gets so much better when you are no longer having to conform to what a selected group of individuals think the world should look like for you. And once you get out of here and you find your people, life is so much better. It's fun, it's exciting, it gives you twists, turns. It gives you everything that you want to see. I think no matter what, find your people. And there are a lot of us who in high school, which seems to be like when you are a teenager, it seems to be the most crucial time of your life. And I won't take it away from you because it's definitely the most adventure that most people experience in a lifetime, but it's so much more outside of your life than those teenage years. And even when you become an adult, find your people and you'll find your happiness.
So Dr. Chris Goodwine is here, and you want to come up?
Oh, this is nice. Got a little weight on it. It's nice. It's nice. So thank you to find out that something you did randomly on Facebook got all the attention it got and it continues to produce is amazing, because that was not the intent to set out. And there's actually 3 other individuals in the room with me today who responded to that Facebook post, which is, we call her Vanessa, which is my girlfriend who really was the organization behind Dayton Black Pride. I mean, if you ever want a planner, that is the person you want, because she will keep you on task and keep you going. Michael Note, Have a Gay Day, helped us get beyond our own limitations of like, you guys can just do that, just do it and just see what happens. And Mel put it together. He was the first person to find us some money to go, you guys can look for it and people will give to you. But I think this, I mean, it's exciting to be in a room and to be in more spaces, because I think since the launch of Dayton Black Pride, we have found more communities outside of crossing the bridge that are a part of the LGBTQ community. And that is amazing, just to see that we are in every spaces of life and we are connected in so many things. We have similar social justice fights. It's amazing. I've heard some things here today in the educational world, because I'm also on the Dayton School Board, and there's some people here that I'm gonna need to connect, because we have to take this part of our culture into our school systems, specifically our public school systems, because it's necessary. There are so many kids who are at places that everyone in this room is probably at one point in their life, and still believing that they don't have their people to help them get through this moment. And I just hope that not only do I have this award to show for it, that the work that we did, but the connections that go beyond the award continue to build us up as a social group and culture together. Thank you.
All right, our next honoree is the Moo Crew.
Andrew Shade. I'm the original coordinator of Moo Crew, which is a program of what at the time was AIDS Resource Center Ohio, now known as Equitas Health. They were looking for a program that would reach young gay bi men between the ages of 18 and 24, who at the time were most at risk for new HIV infections. It was a blessing and a luck that took me to become the first coordinator of the Moo Crew. The Moo Crew is based off of a program called the Empowerment Project, which was designed out of the University of California, San Francisco, really focused on preventing HIV amongst young gay and bisexual men and men have sex with men. So that program was administered and has been all over the US, and I was the one that kind of started the one in Dayton. For years, we kind of grew over time. I had to learn the ropes around Dayton at first, and then you need a lot of crazy, fun, amazing people, a lot of local community leaders. I need a lot of help from them. And through that, we were able to grow the Moo Crew into a really successful program. So successful that we became a national model for the empowerment projects all over the US.
So my name is Benjamin Adams, and I first attended a Moo Crew event in, I believe, the fall of 2006, so many moons ago now. And I continued to attend events on and off through college. I went to school in Springfield, Ohio, so it was a little bit of a trek down, but would still come down and do some of the Moo Crew social events and activities. And then once I got out of college and the group's previous coordinator, Andrew, had stepped down to move across the country, they offered me that position, which I stepped into. And then I was the Moo Crew coordinator for the next 9.5 years, first with ARC Ohio, and then as we transitioned over to Equitas Health. and really just tried to steward the program and keep it going and continue to welcome new folks as folks came and went over that period.
All right. So neither Andrew nor Ben are here, but Ben did send a thank you. He wants to thank the Greater Dayton LGBT Center and the committee for recognizing him for this award. The time he spent first as a member and then as a coordinator of the MOO crew had a profound impact on his life and in many ways helped make him who he is today. The MOO crew provided him and countless others with a place where they could be themselves and meet with other members of the LGBT community. While the group may no longer exist, its impact on the lives of those who passed through it remains. And he just says thank you. And then our next honoree is Shiren Jones.
My name is Shiren Jones. I am a native Daytonian that has been working at Equitas Health since 2014 when we opened. I am a nurse practitioner that specializes in HIV as well as PrEP. And in my spare time, I also I'm a member of Dayton Black Nurses Rock. It's a local organization, but there is a national chapter. And I've used that organization as my platform to really get out more in the community, to spread the word about HIV, and with the focus on brown and Black women they continue to be a large part of the population that are getting new infections. And so, the biggest thing I want to say is, and I kind of hit on it already, but the support group that I started is really important to have support groups. There are a lot in the community, but there aren't many for specific groups of folks. And so that's what some friends of mine, coworkers, are trying to really do, is to reach out to those communities and to provide support. Black and brown, again, I'll talk about that, are one of the populations that continue to be affected the most by HIV, although our numbers are lower compared to the majority. And so as a group, as a community, LGBTQ, Black, brown, and others, we need to really put that focus on there if we're going to end the epidemic.
All right. And Shiren Jones.
It's really interesting. When I watched that video, it actually brought tears to my eyes, which is unusual to watch your own video and feel that way. But it's because of the work that I do, and it's just a reminder of how important it is. I want to start off by thanking this organization for nominating and also providing me with this award. Thank you for starting this important recognition for those like myself that do things in the community. I first of all want to also give honor to my mother who's sitting here. It's a blessing for her to be here. And her generation was a different time, but that's what I love about my mother. We have this term, love, love is love. My mom taught me that at a young age. She doesn't pass judgment. She accepts people for who they are. She meets no strangers. And my mother, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't do the things that I do. She's always demonstrated advocacy, higher education, class, professionalism, and so I carry that into my life. I also want to thank my coworkers, my friends, Equitas in general, because I also use them as my platform to get out in the community and do outreach. I am a provider. I love that job. I've been there since we opened the clinic in 2014, so I'm very committed to my professional job, but I'm also committed to the work that I feel led to do in the community. For years, there were women that looked like me that were like, what about the groups for us? Where's the groups? And so I sent emails, I asked, nothing happened. And so as a medical provider, I'm like, I talk to people all the time, but I'm not HIV positive, so can I do this group? In 2020, with the support of my mother, who believed in me and believed that I could do it, we had business meetings together. She listened to my grandiose ideas, and she gave me that encouragement to go ahead and start this group. And so I'm proud to say that we've been meeting monthly since 2020, and I beg for money just to help, because it's not an organization, it's just me using my time to help women that needed someone to connect with. And so before I end, I just want to tell you all just briefly my why. In 1994, briefly, I lived in Atlanta. I worked at Grady Health System, which it was Grady Memorial Hospital. Just briefly, I worked there. And the floor that I worked on was predominantly isolation. So we had folks that were HIV positive, but pretty much had AIDS at that time in 1994. And so fear, stigma, and isolation. Fast forward, I like that term, I had it in my speech already. Fast forward to now 2022, almost 30 years later, fear, stigma, and isolation. And all of us in some capacity are addressing those issues, but in order to end the HIV epidemic, as the CDC's goal is, Equitas' goal, other community members, we have to continue to do the work to reduce the fear, stigma, and isolation. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak to you, and I appreciate you all.
All right, and our last nominee or honoree tonight is Rob Waldron.
Public persona, Rob Austin. I've always enjoyed entertaining, and one of the things I studied while I was in school was theater and musical theater. So singing and dancing and acting all was my passion for a long time, and I did that while I was in school. Always try to be your authentic self. Remember who you are. Remember you have a voice. Remember that voice needs to be heard. You know, always strive for good. Always try to do good. You know, don't give up. Do your best. Always do your best, and remember who you are. That's the one thing. That's the only thing that I think I could tell somebody. Give advice for someone for 50 or 60 years from now. It's true today. It's true tomorrow. And it's going to be true forever. If you do your best and remember where you come from, remember who you are, and remember that your voice should be heard or can be heard, and let it be heard.
All right, Rob, if you want to come up.
Oh, wow. Okay, it's finally happened. Mark this time in history. I have no clue what to say. If you ever wanted to shut me up, this is the time. No. God. Thank you all. Thank you for this award. Thank you for this honor. Over 20 years ago, when I moved to Dayton, Ohio, and I came out and decided it was time to be a part of this community, I remember going to one of my first Pride dinners and sitting in the audience and watching the host, you know, go through their script, you know, and the next entertainer is going to be, and the next speaker is going to be, and the next person is going to be, and I was like, wow, we really need to get some action up here. So the very next year, I said, I'd like to volunteer to probably help host Pride. And that's where it started, from the convention center to when we first did Pride on Courthouse Square. I remember probably the most joyous day of my life was the first time walking out on Courthouse Square and seeing the parade ending and seeing all the people in the audience out there, and yelling at the top of my lungs, "Happy Pride Dayton." It was probably one of the most joyous times I've ever had. Then working in the community, being on the board of the LGBT Center, being an entertainer, putting on, what I like to call our Little Rascal shows. Oh, we got a cause, let's do it. Remember, Josh, Queens for a Cause? We got to raise some money, let's do a show. We're going to do this, let's do a show. Let's raise money for this, let's do a show, That's always been my joy. And working in the community, trying to be an example of the way to live your life out, proud, authentically. I may not have much, but I have lots of friends, I have lots of family. I have a partner for almost 27 years that's been my rock. My children, been my rock. My friends, my drag family, my community family. And I can only say this has truly, truly been an honor. So thank you very much.
I just want to thank everybody, thank all the honorees for coming and being here with us tonight and accepting your awards. And again, we want to thank our sponsors, Gay Dayton, Square One Salon and Spa, the Ruby Girls, Rainbow Elder Care, Equitas Health, the Greater Dayton LGBT Center, and Patrick Thomas. And then also the steering committee, which is myself, Carrie Gray, Aaron Craig, Jordan Ailes, Melissa Rodriguez, Mel Carroll, and Randy Phillips. We want to thank you all for coming, supporting us. And if you would please consider making a donation to the HER History Project and the archives financially, or just give us your stuff, like I said earlier. And again, thank you all for coming, and we want everybody to go out there and make some history.